Audio is working. Let's see. Did you guys do the homework thing or do you need, I don't know. I mean, for the last one,
Don't talk about
okay, I'm willing to not talk about it, but I mean, it's up to you.
Very hard on that and right.
All right, it doesn't matter that much. It's just like, it's an opportunity to learn how to do psychometric charts, you know? Yeah, it should be.
I think everybody
something.
struggled significantly with that homework.
Yeah, it wasn't that easy. I mean, it's something we should be able to do, you know, but it wasn't that easy.
I don't think we gave ourselves enough time. I don't think we realized how difficult it was until it was too late. We didn't know
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah, I can see that. It's not, it actually isn't that difficult, but basically it's like, it's kind of, anyway, it could be difficult.
The chart was also blurry, which didn't help.
Yeah, the chart was blurry and like, it was, the guy says exactly how to do it though, right? In that video, if you watch the video.
The video, he explained it with mail us.
Yeah, and there's some other things on the web that explain it, so. Anyway, and then it did relate to whatever, Charlie was talking about. So anyway, so we should cancel the thing on the, this Friday, and then, try to do it, like you guys, when can you guys leave on a Thursday? Like leave UC? Cause she wants to do it at 2. Like I can't really leave till 2, but I can go late. I mean,
She could make it like 2:30. I think that'd be the best right since we start class at 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I could make 2:30. Yeah, so, all right. Let me see if she can do it then.
For 5th years, process design ends at like 1:20-ish.
Mhm.
So then after that, a lot of those better against those class.
Oh, all right. So whoever could get there early, I don't know. We could see, and if we could get, it depends how many people we can get, you know. You guys are saying you would go 3 people or 2 people, plus there's one other person that said they'd go.
On Thursday.
Yeah, if it's Thursday or Tuesday, that would work out better.
All right. Right, because at some point people said Friday was good, but so I'll cancel out Friday and I'll say like we'll skip class that day. And then I don't know, we can just see how it goes. Like see if we can get enough people. Well, we have to get commitment before I cancel the class. So we have to get like firm commitment to like at least 5 people are gonna show up.
Would it be next Thursday?
It could be any, she has to agree to it, you know. So I have to talk to her and then, like she scheduled this one back like more than a month ago. So who knows if she can even do it, but I think she can. I don't think we're that busy really. But anyway, so see, this week's homework is bad too. But anyway, I forget what it is. It's like, oh yeah, it's the coefficient of performance. So it's like on a refrigerator. Yeah, that's something you guys should be experts in. So should be easy. But I keep putting these things up here. Oh, that's not displayed. Huh? How come it says like on projector? The camera's not working, right? That's a problem. I think it goes to sleep and then I have to end class and then restart class. I think I have to, in order to wake the camera up, I have to end class. I think. This should take up the whole class, actually, you know, it's like. This could take up the whole class, like, it's still broken though, it still says PC. The camera's still not projecting, right? No, the laptop is able to.
I know, but it might be on the, is it on the?
Oh, now, or you just magically got it to work.
We just needed to, it was on dock cam.
No, I know I did that, but it just said, all right, wait, let's see if it actually turns on. I turned this thing on too. That could have had something to do with it. The camera's not turning on. Oh, yeah, blank projector could be it. That's right. I can kill the whole system and just start it again, but it's actually up there, right?
Is the projector on?
The projector must be off.
What? Why don't you like this computer? You think to project?
No, it's not. It's still on standby. It's like we need to turn that camera off and turn it back.
You tried clicking end class and then
I did. just
starting it,
did
that's what you
that,
just
yeah.
did?
Let me do it again. I got totally in class. Yeah, that should jolt it to.
Nice, go Paul.
Hopefully that's worth it. This will work for sure. All right, so. Oh yeah, I put a bunch of things up here. All right, so there's something kind of interesting, I thought. Keep seeing these articles and I put them up here. So you got like Guyana is a place next to Venezuela in South America, like on the Caribbean. It's a little country. It's kind of like port. I know a guy from Guyana. Like I run, he runs too, and I talk to him sometimes, I somehow met this guy from Guyana. And I know two people from Guyana. Another guy used to go to the Y, and he was like, he talked about how he took boats to England. Was a British colony. Anyway, so they were kind of pretty poor. And then like Exxon discovered oil off their coast. Okay. No, this is recently. So these are all like Guyana oil. But if you go to the Guyana oil Exxon project, and it's similar to what's off Venezuela, and then go down and like look about the details, right? So the well safely drilled to 5. All right, so first off, it's 2000. What is it? Prairie discovery, blah 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 blah. Drilled to da 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 da. Oh wait. They describe it, and it's like 2 miles deep. It's 2 miles under. It's 5 miles under the sand, under the ocean. It's 1 mile under the water. Just 6 miles underground to get to this oil in the middle of the Caribbean. Right. Luckily, they don't get like hurricanes much in Guyana. It's right in the middle, like where the hurricanes come, but they always go like north of it. So they almost never. I don't think they've ever gotten a hurricane. I just thought it was kind of interesting, like what they're doing, So Guyana did this interesting thing. So everywhere else, so Brazil has the same issue, right? They have this offshore oil. So, but everywhere else they just say like, oh yeah, that's okay, go ahead and do it. Or like the BP oil in the Gulf, which is nowhere near this deep. Like that's only like 1 mile under the sand. But this is 5 miles under the sand. Once you go 2 miles under the ocean. It's 8 miles, something 7 or 8 miles of pipe going down. And when you get that deep, like the rock is hot, like the pressure gradient going from the bottom to the top is huge. So you get this asphaltene crystals form that clog the pipes, all kinds of weird stuff happens. It's almost like going to another world because the pressure and temperature is different. Right? So, and plus you're doing it remotely, like no human could go down where they're getting the oil from. Anyway, so Guyana figured like this sweet thing. So they said like, okay, yeah, you can drill oil off our shore, but you're going to be like, they made them like say they're going to be 7.5 billion or something. They have to be responsible for destroying the Caribbean. Like they have to get an insurance policy that says if you destroy the Caribbean, then you have to pay like all the tourist industry and everything in the Caribbean. Then Exxon has to pay for that forever. Like, and Exxon was like, oh, that doesn't sound like a very good deal. But Guyana stuck to it and they got him to sign it. So I think this is going to really change the petrochemical industry. Like they set a new mark because like Nigeria, the Niger Delta is completely destroyed. Like it was all fishing and stuff. There's a lot of cancer. Anyways, oil everywhere. Part of it's because they drill into the pipes and it squirts all over. But basically, and then periodically they have these tank trucks that tip over and everyone runs out to get the fuel and then it blows up and everyone gets killed. This happened like 2 weeks ago. Like 80 people died. It happens like every maybe 3 months, you know. So it's crazy. But anyway, they've never cleaned up a bit. And same thing with I think it's Phillips or something in Ecuador, right? And there was a big lawsuit. Anyway, there's a lot of this stuff has been going on. So Guyana figured like we'll just go up front and you got to pay. It's kind of interesting to read. I mean, it's being in the petrochemical industry that you guys are, more or less, if you're chemical engineers. I thought those things were kind of interesting to read. It's a developing world that's not Africa. There's a Bay of Guinea, is like, so Guyana, there is a Guyana in Africa too. Like there's a Guyana, I think, in the Pacific, and there's a Guyana in the South America. It's like a popular name somehow, but kind of interesting to read. I was interested in a couple of people from there, but and something on the, I don't know, there's a couple things. And this is kind of interesting too. It's about, so apparently China has all the graphite and the lithium ion batteries, like the anode is graphite almost always, right? So basically there's different kinds of graphite, but basically the kind of graphite you need for that. In fact, all the graphite, 80% of it comes from China. And then synthetic graphite, 90% comes from China. So they own all the graphite. So the US is worried about that. So they're funding this company, which is a chemical engineering, petrochemical company. So they're using petrochemical coke or petrochemical coke, I guess, product of the refining oil, like the sludge at the bottom to make graphite for batteries. There's a company, it's like at the electric battery show, there's a video. Anyway, that's got kind of nothing to do with anything, but this week's homework is about the ammonia refrigerator thing I mentioned, but so you can kind of figure that out. And it kind of the coefficient of performance for refrigerators and things. Then so what I wanted to do today was go through let's see, that, yes. It doesn't make a lot of noise, but kind of go through oh, I know where it is. It's like way down at the bottom of this. Kind of go through a little bit about what she's going to talk about on Thursday. But you're saying we're probably not going to get a lot of people on Thursday, or?
Thursday?
Yeah.
Well, did you send out an email saying you can?
Yes.
People will show up then.
Okay. All right. That's good. That's good because she's coming all the way down from Hamilton.
If you make your attendance mandatory, then everyone.
Okay. All right. That's good. So I just wanted to give an introduction to like. Yeah, I don't care if, basically like if we can get a decent, so it looks like like, just something. So, all right. Let me see. Click yes will enable the hyperlinks in this file. Yes. Why does it do that? Like this works fine. And I Googled it and it's like.
Well, click enable editing.
Oh.
Protected view.
Okay. PowerPoint found a large number of unused slide masters. All right, I don't use slide masters. All right. That could be part of the problem. Open link. Yeah, okay, so you did it. I don't know what you did, but same thing with the camera. All right, this is the guy, this Dixon,
My name is Dixon DePalmier.
same.
I teach at Columbia University's Medical School and School of Public Health. The world would be a much better place if we had vertical farming. New York City, where I live, That's a big city, right? 8 million people. These 8 million people consume food that it takes the state of Virginia in landmass to grow. We have to find another way to farm. And here's the other way to farm. If you could think of stacking greenhouses on top of each other.
The other thing is like the food of the world is the entire South America. For the population is now, the population is supposed to like double. So there's not any place to grow the food. Like so the only reason like we're still alive is because of the synthetic fertilizer, right? Otherwise, literally 3/4 of the people on Earth eat synthetic fertilizer, right? So I mean, basically, we're just barely hanging on. If you look at the if you did a mass balance on the people on Earth, what can happen? So he's got a point there. Like
that would be one way to envision it. The leaning, not the leaning tower of pizza. Forget about that. Think about the Hanging Gardens of Babylon. Here's my vision of what a vertical farm might look like. My gold standard for this is the Apple Store in New York City on Fifth Avenue. If you took that building and made it into a 5-story building, now in the building, you have multiple floors, of course. And inside each floor, you have multiple layers of crops. Let's take some typical crops. Let's take tomatoes, strawberries, and turnips. And you could grow a lawn of cabbage, a lawn of lettuce. There's a seed sorting facility next door. You've got people sitting there sorting out all the seeds of the world coming in. And this one's good, this one's not so good. You've got continuous planting at one end, monitoring of growth in the middle. At the end of it, you've got people harvesting. I mean, what you've done here is create a mini ecosystem. My world will be ecologically balanced. And it will be balanced because we've learned how to manufacture food for ourselves in tall buildings within the cityscape. We have learned to live within our means. Life is good. Life is good. Life is good.
There's everything from agriculture, there's aeroculture where they don't even use a substrate to grow the food, they just use air. It's kind of like the violets or some African violets or whatever the things that grow in air.
We have absolutely.
All right. So anyway, yeah, he's got there's 2 videos. They're kind of similar. It's kind of like him talking. That's the guy that invented it, 1999. And it's like, it's been going on. And then there's like this futuristic stuff. He shows some stuff in this thing. I try to play it out. I wonder if it will actually just work now.
And while a pregnancy might have been difficult on a 10-year-old.
Politics, more politics. Well, I got a call yesterday about the pot guy, and I said, I already voted. I voted yes. He was like, all right. And it sounded like he was on pot. Like, it was pretty funny. It was like a Rastafarian calling. I don't know who they think they're going to convince for that, but all right. It's like, okay. And it said like, my phone says like scam call or whatever. So, but I thought I just called the car place to see if they were going to fix the thing. And like, I thought, well, maybe that's them. So I picked it up, but anyway, it's kind of funny. They picked the wrong people to do it, I think. But
50% of us live in cities. And the other half, of course, live somewhere
I
else.
just wanted to show, like, he shows some of the futuristic. Let me just skip through this. Same guy, this kind of thing.
So what they think.
That's how it started. Like, so like that people, like you're going to have, this is a skyscraper in the future and you're going to grow the food in it. Then people actually, so along the road, like people actually built that, things like that. Like, right, this is a conveyor belt, plants where the thing goes up and down, plants grow. And then finally he shows pictures of this Pentagon thing in Japan. Maybe I can't find it. Anyway, I have pictures in the slides. But anyway, there's another video by him.
Floor has a different set of edible plants growing in it. Where that's going to.
So there's the actual just links work. So yeah, there's a history of this stuff. This is let me hide this thing. Oh, this is the Pentagon thing. This is in Japan, but this place is closed now. but basically in Tokyo, where you can, half the buildings working and half the buildings growing crops. You can get your lunch, like pick your lunch right at the, right where you work. And then this is this Bowery, New York, where they, so this is like this is something like, see if that, oh yeah, it actually just works now. So what did I do that made it work?
It might look like we're inside a spaceship, but this is actually a farm.
Right across from you.
The crops here are grown mostly by machines, with the help of just a few humans, like this woman. Her life offers an early peek at a new kind of farming. It's a promising twist to an ancient career, but only if the robots don't replace her altogether.
It's all like purple.
As technology replaces old jobs, it's also creating new ones. I'm Aki Ito, and I'm here to show you the jobs of the future.
All the part. She walks in the door. It's in like a warehouse somewhere in New Jersey. She walks in the door, talks to some people, puts on, so you have to wear special, you don't want to get like dirt into the food. So don't worry about that.
The quickest way from a billion points of data to a point of view. Via.
Trays of produce are vertically stacked to save space, and each of them is given just the right amount of light, water, and nutrients at the optimal temperature and humidity.
So there's no water.
It's an incredible level of precision, which is why Katie can grow more faster with less water and no pesticides. It's also what lets her grow things that taste like nothing you've ever had before.
What's this? This is the sorrel. That tastes like candy apple. Whoa, it's so sour. I know.
The majority of this facility is automated.
Like the bananas from Central America, when they get to the port, there's a guy there that says yes and no to which bananas they take. This is after they've grown them, you know. Then the no is like 40% of the bananas are no. They just throw them away at the port before they put them on a ship to send to the US. Pretty weird. So there's a lot of like, because the food isn't perfect, it gets tossed. Like roughly like 3/4 of the food we grow just gets thrown away. Right. So that could save the world just in that, right? I mean, you could think about. But anyway, there is a problem.
The data is collected by sensors, and a computer controls growing conditions for the crops. For the things that the machines can't do yet, Katie and her fellow human farmers fill in. And even those tasks are dictated.
Basically just show like what the place looks like and kind of people working there. Anyway, the food
Probably feed everyone.
tastes, the food is different. Like the food comes out smaller, you know, usually. So they have like microgreens instead of like full grown greens. It's easier to grow microgreens than this, but the microgreens have more vitamins in them than full grown greens. So you can make different kind of foods this way. It isn't necessarily going to be the same food. Although so some of these companies, this is a place where they do aquaculture. So you can also do this with fish, you know, so you do like indoor fish farm thing. Looks like all these links work now. I've been miserable for a long time with that. Can I just sit through and get to the fish? So these
Actually giving a lot of grants now to farms that are able to scale up.
It's like goes up.
Eric Ng built the first vertical
So
fish farm in
They show at the
Singapore.
end, like, how
From
this-
6
so they're
ponds.
grown at perfect conditions. Oh, here. You can see kind of how big
This with a smaller footprint.
None of these shows how big it is. It's this huge fish thing. Then people are like coupling together the fish with the agriculture, so you can get some byproducts of fish that make plants grow.
Expensive. We need to build this with a smaller footprint to produce more. So to go into intense.
And then, I mean, point of this class is that like, could you use that in the developing world? And the thing is like nobody, even though this idea has been around, what was it, 2013 or something? In 1999, he came up with the idea. So it's like 25 years or something. And basically it's never reached the developing world yet. So even though it's like much more efficient to grow the food, You can grow it in the city, like right next to where the people are consuming it, so there's no transportation involved. Basically, it hasn't, for some reason, hasn't been shown up in the developing world issue. But efficiency, resistance to weather, environmental conservation. You put it right where you need it, so there's no shipping. And then there's all these different things, like different kinds of aspects to it. So people have been looking at this, and you know, locally. So we have one of the leading companies, this 80 acres. This is kind of their logo. You can see like it's all LED lights. So they can put these. You can put the whole thing. That's the place in Hamilton. So what they have a bunch of production facilities downtown that are old factories. Then they built this one like new building. And the place in Cincinnati is an old kind of factory near Vine Street. It's near the glycol plant, like the fatty acid places, BASF and Emory. So it's kind of like past Emory, past BASF on the left-hand side instead of the right, and then they're over there. So that's where we did tours before. Basically going to be like this. It looks a lot like that. They also have like trailers there, like semi-trailers that they can fill with this. So you can grow like wherever you want, like right at the store, you can grow the vegetables. And you can just have robots package it. So they have robots too, pick and package the food. So basically it seems like a pretty good idea. It's all run by LED lights. Now the pot people are pretty interested in this, you know. I mean, it's because it's like perfect environment. You can grow like absolutely and totally the same pot every time, you know. So basically, that's part of this industry. That's turned into like a big part of it.
What about like fruits that need tropical weathers, like coffee beans, cocoa beans? Are they able to?
People like you can ask Maddie, you know, but basically they figured out at 80 acres, I guess, that there's only certain crops. Like you should ask her. But basically so there's a company. So if you look up, so these are all like this is a thing that's like an NGO, like a kind of a nonprofit organ for people that are handicapped, and they grow food too in this kind of conveyor belt thing in Denver. This is supposedly the largest one. See, they're growing it on both sides of this thing. Let me play this. Just because of that's unique that they grow on the two sides. So it's like they just have a sponge in there where they put the seeds. All right, let me see if I can get that to play. So there's literally hundreds. See, like this is a unique thing. So they're growing like so much lettuce, right? It's on both sides. Then there's a robot harvesting the lettuce, and that's a robotic arm, and then there's some kind of robot that trims it, right? And it's just going to harvest those big sheets and just somehow automatically package the stuff, you know? I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, it could be scary. It depends on your perspective, you know? Then you see like these plants that you see where the roots are with the plant, that's coming from this technology too. Like because they're hydroponically grown, they can just put the whole thing in a package. So you can get all this at Kroger now. Like this isn't like something that's odd, you know. All these different companies that are doing this stuff. Let me stop upset. Let me just do that. Get back over here. Anyway, the two-sided thing, I think they're kind of unique in doing that. Aero farms, they don't use any substrate at all. They just grow from air, and they aren't the only ones. So there's a bunch of companies doing this kind of technology, just like having a spray mist where the plants grow somehow from it. Bright Farms, I never heard of until recent, just like kind of was looking around. So they're like New Jersey. So a lot of these companies in New Jersey, but they're in, it says where they are here. They're in Ohio, Wilmington, Ohio. It's like 71. That's like a trucking town, right, on 71. So basically, they're growing the plants right for the trucks and loading on the trucks immediately. There's no farm to truck. It's just like truck to truck. You just grow it and take it to the Kroger or wherever you go. All right, these guys. Okay, if you Google and then it says like, what's the biggest vertical farming in the world, right? And this in-farm comes up. And then the first thing to show is this, right? Wheat. Like you can't economically grow wheat, rice, potatoes, because those things, there's no value added to them. There's tomatoes, there's a huge value added per pound. It's like cash crops, like lettuce, tomatoes, herbs, radishes, some other things like per pound, they're a lot more money. Wheat per pound, like in that state, is nothing, you know? So you can't really justify, unless you can genetically engineer those crops to produce a lot more in a lot smaller space, you know, a lot faster. Like otherwise, so if you ask the 80 acres people, it's like, no way, you're never going to grow wheat in one of these plants. You go to in-farm and it immediately shows this and potatoes and rice, which are the things that everyone says no one can grow. And you go to look at in-farm, they're supposedly in Los Angeles, and you go like, oh yeah, they're on the 3rd floor of someplace on like Sunset Strip somewhere. Then like you realize they don't have any plants, even though they're listed as the top vertical farming company. And then you go to their webpage and it's like, oh, you can invest in us. It's just like a money scam, like basically, right? So I mean, there's a lot of that going on. It's startup companies. This is a great idea. Who's the top one in it? Oh, in-farm. Oh, give them 10 grand, you know, they're definitely going to grow. And it's like, well, they aren't really a company, you know? They're just, so I think there's some that are like fronts. If they show wheat and potatoes, you know that like they don't know what they're doing. This is, all the companies have this kind, this is called freight farms. Basically all the companies have this. Like, so you have a semi, it's just full of that kind of LED lights and circulatory system for the water, totally enclosed, and just tomatoes just pop out basically. When you put in electricity, you get out tomatoes. There's a little startup water, and then after that you never give it any water, and there's no waste. So yeah, you could take those and you could stack them up 80 stories and you can make a lot of tomatoes, right? So, but you can't exactly make wheat. So people, and maybe they could live on tomatoes. It's hard to tell, you know? Basically, you could maybe survive with it. Then the power consumption and things are an issue. There's a lot of like people think, oh, that's a neat idea. This is science barge in Yonkers, New York, solar power, these kind of trailers, a semi-trailer growing things, and it's on a barge and it's in New York. They make, but they're not exactly turning a profit. It's a non-profit. So just kind of maybe showing that you could do this, like you could make food in New York City just with this science barge, never touching the sunlight or anything. Just you need the sunlight for the solar energy, right? TerraFarm was a big thing in California, and now I can't find them anywhere, you know. There is a TerraFarm in Germany now. It's kind of weird. For a while, a couple of years ago, they were like the hottest thing. I think they must have gotten bought out by somebody, because they don't even exist anymore. And there is a TerraFarm, and the name, I guess, was a nice name. So it's like a German TerraFarm. And then this is in the London Underground. So there's the tube, you know, in London, and there's some of the tubes are abandoned. So they turned them into farms right in the middle of the city. So you just grow, you grow right in the middle of the city, you take the elevator up and sell the lettuce or whatever you're growing. Right. So there's a lot of this, people using abandoned mines and stuff because the temperature is controlled in it, and then they can grow all kinds of crops so there's things happening that are real, like 80 acres, and there's a lot of flim flam too. And it's pretty hard to tell which one's which, but definitely this field is growing like crazy. This thing went defunct. So this is the building in Tokyo where they grow lunch, and on one side of the building they eat, the people work, and the other side they eat lunch. This app Harvest. So all right, the guys that founded 80 acres are one of them is a P&G, aka Flim Flam guy. Then the other one was with the meat industry, doing something like Smithers or some sausage company or something. Then they got together, they did like a startup. And this is maybe like 10 or 15 years ago. and then it grew, like it caught on. So they were right at the starting point of it, and they had the business acumen to do it, you know, more than like, they weren't farmers at all. They were accountants, you know. So and then Natty too is a chemical engineer, and now she's doing kind of accounting too. So it's a lot of like robots are doing the growing. So you have to buy the stuff, figure out the electricity right. So a lot of it is just managing it, right? Anyway, this guy Jonathan Webb is also, he's a business guy who thought this was a good idea from Kentucky, from Lexington. And then he's just set up this. I tried to get him to talk or interact, you know, but basically, but he's a pretty cool guy, I think. I mean, he's good in terms of like an energetic speaker. I mean, he looks cool. It's like
Wix is your platform to perform on. A complete portfolio solution means you can tell your unique story with confidence.
From We First and Goal 17 Media,
so they're growing
welcome
lights.
to Lead
They
with
aren't-
We.
So they aren't.
I'm Simon Mann.
They're not totally indoors, and they don't use LED lights. They're kind of like greenhouses, hydroponic greenhouse kind of thing, but a little bit higher tech than that. So they have robots harvesting the stuff, and so they're like high tech.
And today I'm joined by Jonathan Webb, the CEO and founder of App Harvest. Now, App Harvest is on a mission to deliver consumers options for more delicious, sustainably grown produce that is better tasting and better for the environment and people. And we'll discuss how to capture an enormous marketplace opportunity by solving pressing social issues like the food crisis, and how to innovate.
I just want to show the guy.
Today, Maker's Mark announced that they're now a B Corp. Just another trend in every company in every sector trying to find a way where they can have purpose at the core of their business. So, you know, an easy one for me is I would say hats off to Maker's Mark on being a B Corp, and I'll probably go have a sip of Maker's tonight to toast.
There you go. And like you know, growing up in Kentucky, you know, what is one common sort of conception of the region of Kentucky itself? What would you say?
Well, I mean, there's been this blanket concept of flyover country in general, and I think Kentucky's definitely, you know, been a part of that. And again, the concept that all these great ideas that are going to change the world come out of just a few places, and San Francisco being the only hub for innovation, tech innovation, and that's just not true. And I hope that, you know, a part of App Harvest and our story over time, I hope it inspires the next generation to empower young leaders that great ideas can come from anywhere, and we all have access to the same information.
Let me ask you, you know, your background is so, you know, it's so fascinating in terms of the breadth of your ambition. I mean, you were the first to graduate from college in your family, and then you went to the University of Kentucky. But then how did that lead to App Harvest? Because I know that you graduated around the recession. So give us a little bit of sense of that journey, because when you see the end result, it's so breathtaking, but it's amazing where you started and how quickly you accelerated this trajectory.
Yeah, I would love to say there was some great plan from day one, but there wasn't. I mean, I've always been very curious as a kid, and you know, I definitely think, you know, kids from average middle class American families have a great opportunity, opposed to, you know, some kids that might grow up in more of a structured higher end.
Anyway, I just thought that this guy's pretty cool. That's what I thought. But basically, it is kind of disingenuous, like what's going on there. But so they're close, like they're in the same area. The reason, some point in there, he says like the reason is that from Cincinnati, from Lexington too, you can reach something like 80% of the population in one day by truck of the United States. You know, so basically, if you want to do this kind of thing and have one day delivery of food, there's not a better place to do it. And also, it's kind of cheap in the area, and land's cheap and everything. So, but basically, it's a trucking issue. But if you want to ship, like, so that's true of like why P&G is here too. Why a lot of companies are here. So anyway, that's it, I guess. This thing. It was 249, so it's good. So I just wanted to kind of give a little introduction to this kind of vertical farming thing and maybe pitch the potential for developing world too, you know, but that's about it, I think, for today. So, is that all right, or? What this thing? Yeah, so Thursday, Maddie's coming, so I'll tell her not that we can't do the thing on